to fuck. Freaking destroyed. Destroyed. Go to the house. It's done. It's over. Get yourself a fucking helmet on, come over the wall, and look at the fucking right front. It's fucked, dude. It doesn't fucking matter.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Stock Car Spectacle. I'm Ian Jordson.
I'm Mike Gamble.
And I'm Nick Kinsel.
And joining us again for another week of episodes. Guys, you should know him by now. We talk about him every week. Patrick Codo, welcome back, buddy.
Hey, Ian, thank you very much for having me on this week. And spoiler alert, you guys will also be on the Codos Mojo episode this week. And if you people have not listened to my amazing sports podcast show, you are behind because you are missing out on some good information.
That's right. Yeah, we'll be on Codos Mojo this week, so make sure to check him out. He's on all podcast platforms, and you can find him on Twitter and Instagram for all updates. So thanks for joining us, Pat. This should be a good episode. So
of course, Ian, happy to be here.
Oh, yeah. So let's dig into our diecast of the week. Mike, what you got for us, bud?
All right, guys. So as we're reviewing Richmond, to foreshadow to events we'll talk about in a little bit, Ryan Blaney's in a little bit of a spot coming out of Richmond, going into Bristol. 27 points to the bad coming into Bristol. We need all the positive vibes. We can get all the good juju. That's why I got my Blaney shirt and hat on. And I'm going to play the last time he worked some magic. Talladega last year in the playoffs, his race win car, which I got autographed. We need Ryan to go ahead and find some of that magic to this weekend and park that boy in victory lane so we can move on to the round of 12 because the hole we're in right now is quite treacherous.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, he usually runs really, really good at Bristol, but eventually gets caught up in someone else's mess. So hopefully he can stay out of it.
Yeah, I saw a really interesting stat. Somebody tweeted it, and I looked up, and it seems to be true. He has the most laps led in his career at any racetrack is at Bristol, and it's also one of his worst average finish racetracks.
Yeah.
Like the polarizing difference there.
God, that's wacky.
So.
All right, Nick, what'd you bring for us today?
Well, like Mike and Ryan Blaney, my guy is also in some trouble and is on the verge of not making it to the round of 12. But I busted out the 2018 Matt DiBenedetto Darlington car. It is autographed. Got to thank Ian for getting this one for me for my birthday. But yeah, man, 27 points out, I believe we are right now. We're not looking good. His first two races have sucked. The team has sucked. The car sucked. Crew chief has sucked. It's time to go, and thankfully we're going to Bristol. It's one of his best tracks. Damn near won the race last year, so I'm praying for something good, man.
There you go. Hey, he needs everything he can get.
Yeah.
All right, Patrick, what'd you bring for the diecast of the week, buddy?
Well, obviously, in the NASCAR world, we've heard a lot of news going on, but our good friend, Bubba Wallace, will be leaving Richard Petty Motorsports, so might as well show off the nice 43 car one more time before he moves off to whatever car will take him. And honestly, I hope he goes to the 48.
There
Nice.
you go, buddy. Yeah, that's a nice diecast right there. I love that blue on that car.
I know Mike likes it.
Classic Petty Blue, baby.
Yeah, buddy. All right, guys. So for my diecast of the week, we're going to Bristol Motor Speedway. Last time we were there, old number 9 got it done in the Xfinity Series for his second career win. This is his Lionel Racing diecast. Now, what's actually funny about this car, he has never actually ran it on the track. He was supposed to run it at Charlotte earlier this year, but then the pandemic happened and everything. And he ended up running his Bass Pro car. So, and I'm looking at his paint scheme schedule, and it does not look like he's going to be running his Lionel racing car. So, I basically got a die cast that will never be running on the track. So, I think it's pretty unique. I'm also bringing it out because, when we last went to Bristol, he wanted his Plan B sales car. So, I thought I'd bust out the Lionel racing one.
Nice.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's more like 2020 happened than just the pandemic.
Yeah, no kidding. All right, guys. So let's get into our Richmond review. It was a wild weekend in Virginia. So let's start off with the truck series. We had Austin Hill winning the pole, and Zane Smith again looking fast, going on to win stage 1. Ben Rhodes, he's looking fast of late. He goes on to win stage 2. That helps him out so much going into the playoffs.
Yeah, obviously big weekend last weekend for Ben Rhodes getting the win, coming out being fast again this weekend. I honestly thought he probably had race winning speed. Tire strategy at the end of the race got a little wonky on those guys and probably prevented him from picking up another checkered flag. But really encouraging because he hasn't quite had race speed for a lot of this season. He's been good and he's been very consistent with his finishes, but he hasn't been up there contending for wins as much as I'd like to see him as a Ben Rhodes fan. So really encouraging signs as we're getting close to playoffs to see him kind of cranking it up a notch over there with the 99 team.
Oh, yeah. And then his teammate, Grant Enfinger, goes on to win the race for his 3rd win of the season, helping him make his way into the NASCAR playoffs as we get started with that. So good for Grant Enfinger and ThorSport. So far, besides Johnny Sauter, is looking fast.
Yeah, man. Johnny had himself a night, that's for sure. If there were any children listening to his radio, I sure hope they weren't. Otherwise, they're going to pick up on some words that their parents are not going to be happy with them saying.
Yeah.
Well, some George Carlin stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. He didn't know that Trevor Bayne was in the race. He's got to watch his language.
Yeah, hey, watch your language. Oh,
Yeah.
the Trevor Bayne awful race again. 2 races back and 2 mechanical failures. It really sucked to see because looking at I was following his lap times. He was running top 5 lap times. He just was never able to showcase what he had because he had to go into the garage for about 8 to 9 laps, and at a short track, you're not recovering from that. But it's encouraging to see that he's going to be back in the truck. Looks like they're going to go for the rest of the season. That's what I'm hoping. We got Bristol coming up, so that's a really good racetrack for Trevor. So I hope to see good things out of that 45 truck.
There you go. All right, guys. So now let's dig into the Xfinity Series. We had the Melon Man, Ross Chastain, winning the pole. And then we had a caution on lap 45. We had 4 wide coming out of turn 4, resulting in Myatt Snyder wrecking. Was really one of the only big crashes that we had in this race. It was relatively clean all weekend long.
Yeah, absolutely. But the good thing for Xfinity especially, and I thought was a little bit of a saving grace for a cup race that, again, we'll talk to in a bit, but a lot of people called boring. You did have tire fall off and things like that. So guys did have to manage their race cars, manage their tires, and some of that strategy came into play. So you had some comers and goers and things like that, and made the racing a lot of fun, especially in these Xfinity races, man. You saw a lot of, like I said, a lot of guys on different tire strategies, and it was fun to see how it all played out.
Oh, yeah. And then Austin Cindric, he goes on to win stage 1. And then Justin Allgaier, looking fast in the second half of this race, he goes on to win stage 2. And then at the end of the race, we had the battle of the Justins. We had Justin Allgaier and Justin Haley battling for the lead in the final stage. Allgaier captures a checkered flag, and yeah, looking really fast for that 7 car so far.
Yeah, absolutely. The way his season started, he was wrecking. He was getting wrecked every weekend. Just didn't seem like anything could go well for the 7 car to where he's at the end of this weekend is such a turnaround and such a testament to what kind of driver he is. And the fortitude of that 7 team, and he's in a really good place now going into the playoffs.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the monkey's definitely off the back now, and Justin Allgaier, he's looking like a real threat again. Back to the old Gator that we're all used to knowing and loving to see.
Yeah, it's about time. And yeah, it was good that he was looking fast at Richmond because we all know it's kind of the same style as Phoenix, and we know that he is really good at Phoenix. So he could be a contender for that championship. So I guess we'll see.
Sir.
Absolutely.
All right, and then this weekend we did have a double header with the Xfinity series. So the second race we had Tommy Joe Martins winning the pole from the field inversion. That did not last long at all. he fell back immediately.
Lasted about as long as it does to say his name.
Yeah.
No, it lasted as long as Kyle Busch trying to get a win.
There you go. That's a long time.
Yeah, that's a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you mean the opposite of that, buddy.
Yeah. And then we had Justin Allgaier. He goes on to win stage 1, still having that momentum from the first race. And then the Melon Man, Ross Chastain, he went on to win stage 2. And we had a caution with 22 to go. We're just talking about it every week, guys. Riley Herbst. Oh, my goodness. Herbst turns in front of Brandon Brown and takes himself out, basically takes himself out of contention of the race. It's just every week now we're talking about this 18 car just getting into some kind of mess.
I just feel like when you go and put these review things together, you just always just add a spot for Riley Herbst in there.
Yeah.
9 times out of 10.
Might as well call it the Riley Herbst segment.
Yeah. 9 times
Basically.
out of 10, we're always talking about this guy, and it's for all the wrong reasons. I've said y'all already know my opinion on him. I talked about him all the time. Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Oh, yeah. Not one bit, buddy. And then Justin Allgaier goes on to sweep the weekend at Richmond Raceway. Just an incredible weekend for him. And he had his filter time car for the first race, and that was their first ever, I believe that was their first race with that sponsor on the 7 car, and they ended up winning. And then it was pretty cool to see Justin Allgaier and the team tear off that and then bring out his Brandt car. So it's really cool to see guys working with the team and then winning with the team. So good for Justin Allgaier. Good to see him sweep the weekend.
Nice to see a guy from our home state, Illinois, succeed.
Exactly.
Yep.
And Justin Allgaier is just one of the all-time good guys and nice guys in NASCAR. Nobody ever has a bad word to say about the guy. He's just top class all the way around. Yeah, and if there's anybody you'd expect to be helping his crew out, Justin's probably at the top of that list. So, yeah, really cool to see one of our Illinois guys. You guys know that's my Xfinity driver getting it done. And, yeah, incredible to see. So, great weekend for him.
Still waiting on the Melon Man to smash a watermelon.
Yeah, man, it's crazy that Ross Chastain, we thought that he was going to be the guy to win the championship this year, and yet he has not won a race at all in 2020.
Well, again, I think we've kind of talked about it a little bit with Trevor's situation. The Nice Motorsports situation from last season to this season has been a lot different. So I think he's struggled at times, but if you look at where he's ran as a whole, it isn't as bad as it looks. But like you said, you did expect him to be one of those guys, almost like a Kyle Busch type, where he comes down here and wins 5, 6, 7 races a year. But you know what? Hey, there's still the playoffs. He gets in the playoffs. Anything can happen. We've talked about it time and time again with the way the NASCAR playoffs are. He has a great postseason. Nobody's even talking about what happened with the regular season.
Right.
For sure. And before we move on, I just want to give a shout out to the 8 car this weekend. Jeb Burton did a hell of a job in that second Xfinity Series race. He was fast all day. He was leading at times, and he got finally 8 car had some good luck. Yes, Daniel Hemrick was not driving the car, but it's just nice that the 8 car is able to have a solid run for once. And I like Jeb Burton. I think he deserves a ride. He's a good guy. He's a good racer, so it was cool to see.
Okay. Hey, I'm sorry. I said
my watermelon.
Yeah. Hey, I'm sorry, I said Nice like we're still talking about the truck series. My bad, guys. I was like, what is this dude talking about? Nobody even said anything. Yeah, colleague. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no worries. All right, now let's finish off the race weekend with the Cup Series.
Oh, yes.
So we had Kevin Harvick winning the pole from the algorithm, and we had Denny Hamlin going on to win stage 1 at his home track. We knew that he was going to look fast here, but it didn't last for long. And we had 51 to go in stage 2. Kevin Harvick made a rookie mistake. He's been here for years now. He goes over that commitment line box, giving himself a pit road penalty, kind of bringing himself in the back. But he comes back and bounces back. And then we had Brad Keselowski going on to win stage 2. So definitely some great points for that 2 team. And then about halfway through the race, we had Austin Dillon and Denny Hamlin both getting nabbed for speeding penalties on pit road, so sending them back. Not good for Denny Hamlin, the Richmond racer that we thought would probably dominate this weekend. But it was the deuce. Number 2, Brad Keselowski went on, and he finally broke the curse of 3 wins. He won a 4th race of the year, so looking good for Brad Keselowski going further into the playoffs. He's locked into the round of 12.
Well, going
Yeah,
back
good
to
for
Austin Dillon, I mean, he looked really good. He had a fast car this weekend. Like that, where did that come from?
I don't know what RCR has done, but Austin Dillon has really turned it on here these past couple of weeks. He's in a good cushion to advance out of Bristol. He's plus 36 above the cut line. So whatever RCR is doing, good for them. Because Austin Dillon, he just looks like a totally different race car driver right now.
It's that command center, boys.
Yeah, holy
it's playoffs, man. Like you mentioned, Mike, anything can happen.
Absolutely, brother.
Right.
And I would just say this: it was a very weird race in the fact that Richmond, for about the last half a dozen races, has solely come down to Martin Truex Jr. and Denny Hamlin, and then to see somebody besides one of those 2 win was something we haven't seen quite a while here. So
Yeah,
really
usually this track is just dominated by Toyotas every time we come here.
Yeah, absolutely. And also incredibly weird, no natural cautions on a short track.
No.
So we had,
I mean, it was good racing. We saw a lot of passing, but yeah, we did not see any cautions besides the competition and the stage breaks.
Yep.
Same thing with Rex.
Yeah. Closest we had was Mr. Bubba Wallace chopping that 48 pretty good, and 48 doing everything he could to try to end Bubba's life, let alone his race, and just missed. But yeah, that was probably the closest thing we had to a wreck all day, and yeah, pretty crazy to see. Not something we see a whole lot, especially on a short track anymore. I know we're in the playoffs. You got a lot of guys that maybe just trying to really take care of their equipment and stuff, but just very peculiar in my opinion.
Oh yeah. It just goes to show that you don't need all these cautions and wrecks to put on a good show. And unfortunately, the clowns on NASCAR Twitter like to veer the other way, because I think this race got like a 42% said this was a good race. Like, those are the people who say they watch NASCAR solely for the entertainment and the wrecks and everything. And also, I got to say kudos to Brad Keselowski. He got more than 3 wins in a season. When is the last time that's happened? He's usually good for 3, and he's done for the year.
Yeah, no kidding. It's been quite a few years since we've seen him cross off that 4th win.
I know your dad is stoked, Ian.
Oh yeah, he's always stoked when that 2 crosses into victory lane.
He was happy about it the next day when we were watching the Bears game.
Oh yeah. All right, guys. So I think that will do it for our show here. You guys got anything else to add before we end it?
Let's go racing, boys.
Going to be treacherous going into Bristol. That's all I got to say.
Oh,
yeah, absolutely. Bristol as a cutoff race with some drivers in some very peculiar positions points-wise. I think we are going to be in store for one hell of a show Saturday night.
Are you going to be able to watch it, though?
What's that?
Are you going to be able to watch it, though?
I'll find a way. Don't you worry about me. I'll MacGyver something up, so.
All right, guys. So that will do it for us here at the Stock Car Spectacle. We'd like to thank you guys for joining us. We'd like to thank Patrick Codo for joining us. You can follow him on all podcast platforms and Twitter and Instagram with the Codos Mojo podcast. Great Chicagoland-based sports podcast. So make sure to check it out. You will not regret it. Oh, yeah. And make sure to check us out as well. Me, Nick, and Mike, we're all on Twitter and Instagram, along with the Stock Car Spectacle accounts. You can find the Stock Car Spectacle on all podcast platforms as well. If you don't want to watch it on YouTube, make sure to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content. And that will do it for us. So for the Stock Car Spectacle, I'm Ian Jortson.
I'm Mike Gamble.
And I'm Nick Kinsel.